Well, Happy New You. I'm Reverend Elisha Christopher. I'm the spiritual director here at the center. Let's begin by taking a few breaths together. So first, exhale it all out. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Together, another deep breath in. Let it go. One more together. Breathe in. And let go. My goodness, it's 2024 already. And which means we have a whole new theme, a whole new year, a whole new theme. Last year, our theme was living out loud. We explored that all throughout the year, each month in different ways, how we can live out loud. This year, our theme is a grand rising, which I like a whole lot. And, you know, these themes that we cycle around here at the center, we share with all the centers for spiritual living around the world. And there is a team of ministers and folks who volunteer together and do a process of visioning throughout the year. And that's a process of sitting in meditation, of asking some very specific questions, listening to what comes through, and then synthesizing that information that's come through the group, and then that's where the themes come from. And then those themes get created, then they get shared with the whole organization. And so this year's theme is a grand rising. And there's a really lovely story from Reverend Casey Taylor there in Oklahoma City. And they're on the Global Themes team. And they shared a story about how this year's theme came about. Reverend Casey is also a social worker and works at a homeless shelter with at-risk youth. And she was working with a group of young men, and there was 3 boys who shared a room. And they were all making vision boards of the lives that they want to live and the experiences they want to have. And there was a poster on the wall that one of them had made that said, "A Grand Rising." And she said, "Well, what's that about?" And he says, "Well, you know, people often say good morning, but to me, morning has this other connotation. You know, these words sound alike, but they might mean very different things." And so for this young man, the word mourning had a connotation of loss, had a connotation of grief. And he said, "I can't wake up every morning and say good morning, but I want to have a grand rising every day." And that became our year's theme. And then I was listening this week, because all of my colleagues have been cycling around these ideas, I was listening to Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson from Baltimore. And he said, you know, think about the word grand, right? When you go to a grand reopening or a grand opening, right? It's not just we're opening the doors and come on in. There's something magnificent, something special, something that's happening for the first time ever when we call it a grand opening or a grand rising, right? So the invitation for this year's theme is for each one of us to look at this new year, every day of the new year, as an opportunity for a grand rising, as an opportunity for a brand new start, for a brand new story, and for really to step into the fullness, the extravagance of the possibility of that new day. How does that feel? Can you get behind that for a year? All right. So this year is going to be all about a grand rising. And as I said last week, you know, I think that this theme is incredibly timely for us. Because let's look at the world, y'all. There is stuff rising up everywhere. Whether it's the tension in the nation and in the world and in the wars that are happening, whether it's the tension in our politics or even in some of our families, whether it's the grand rising of the global temperature, right? There's a lot of stuff rising up everywhere we look. And to me, this grand rising theme is the invitation for each one of us to rise up to meet the conditions of the world, to rise up to meet the issues that have been in front of our face that we couldn't stop looking at, that we've been trying to ignore all along, right? Have any of you ever had an experience where you know you need to make a change and you don't? and then that thing persists, or that habit persists, or that relationship remains, and it becomes more and more uncomfortable. And then you go, I really need to make this change. And if you don't, what happens? The discomfort continues to rise, right? And as you've heard me say 1,000 times before, if you've been in this room, as Michael Beckwith tells us, the pain pushes until the vision pulls, right? The conditions, the pain, the discomfort, the unease, when we know we need to shift, when we know we need to change, the longer we stay there, guess what? The discomfort rises up until it gets our attention. And when I look out at our world, when I look out at the circumstances that are unfolding around us all the time right now, it feels to me like as a collective, there's been big changes we've needed to make and we've just been pushing it off. And now it's getting so uncomfortable that the invitation is right in front of our faces, right? And one of the things I teach in my synthesis curriculum is to look at those things that are up in your face, to look at the disturbances in your life, to look at the discomfort that is there around you, showing up for you, and then to ask into that, what is here for me? Because what I know is that if something's in your face and spirit, the universe, life itself has put something in front of you and it keeps telling you to look at it, it's because there's something for you hidden inside of it. And I saw recently someone drew a Venn diagram and said, if you want to know what your purpose is in the world, draw one circle and write in there the things that give you the most pain about the world. Draw another circle, and in that circle put your gifts and talents. Where those two things overlap, you found your purpose. Right? To look at what's showing up, as the song we sang earlier, how can I serve in a holy, holy way? To look at the world, to look at life, to look at our circumstances as an opportunity to see what's reflected back at us as an invitation for each one of us to be in service to life in a greater way. I think that's why we're here. I think that's why we come to this planet, why we choose to be people. We come here to be in service to each other. We come here to be in service to life. We come here to remember the sacred. And if you look at the world, if you turn on the news, if you read the screens, there's lots of invitations everywhere we look for each one of us to rise up into new ways of being, to become the greatest possible versions of ourselves, to stand for truth in whole new ways. You know, we sang that song before the opening of service, every day. Think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not going to waste it. Right? So what does it look like to wake up every day and believe that this brand new day is a grand rising, an opportunity for you to use the preciousness of this human life that you are here living? Each one of us is a unique, individualized way that the allness of the mind of the universe is funneling itself into the world. And it's through our unique talents, through our unique opportunities, through our unique ways of doing and being, through your special uniqueness that is you. The universe is trying to gift something to the world. Your precious human life is here on purpose. Let's use this year, each one of us, and as a community, to rise up into the people that we came here to be. What if you, what if I, what if each one of us, what if CSL Santa Cruz, what if the world woke up this year to the truth of who we are meant to be? What would your life look like if you woke up tomorrow and said, today is the beginning of a brand new story? And you truly chose, in the biggest possible way, to step out onto the stage of life and play the role you were sent here to play. what could I possibly do to make a difference in the world? Asked 8 billion people. Each one of us has a little piece of a great big puzzle. Nobody has the picture on the box. We don't know what we're trying to build. We have a vision. Here we say we're working towards a world that works for everyone, a world that works for all of life, a world that works in harmony. You have a piece of that puzzle. I have a piece of that puzzle. When we bring the fullness of who we are to the world, when we live into our gifts, when we live into our talents, when we live into our dreams and visions, we activate our piece of the puzzle. And that, to me, is what this year of Grand Rising is all about. It's each one of us figuring out what our piece is and bringing that piece to the table. Because once I have my piece, and you have your piece, and you have yours, and you have yours, and you, and you, and you, and you, when you're putting a puzzle together, what do? We start laying those pieces out and say, well, how do these ones support each other? How do these ones connect? How do these ones come together? And as we each find our piece of the puzzle, the greater picture starts to emerge. And we can start to see who each one of us are here to be. We can start to see what this Center for Spiritual Living is wanting to become. We can see what the world is asking from us and step up and begin to bring that forward into life. It's a little small call to action. Just be the biggest possible you can be. That's all I'm asking. But if each one of us seek to do that, to step into that, and then we come into this place with other people who are in that process, we can lift each other up. We can hold each other up. We can remind each other of who we are when it gets difficult, when we get lost, when we can't find our way. We have others here who we can lean into, who can point us back to the truth of who we are. So that is going to be our theme for the year. We're going to spend the next 51 Sundays exploring these ideas. We're going to break it down. We're going to chew on it bit by bit. But that's our theme this year, a grand rising. Let this year, let each day be an opportunity for a brand new start. And let's look to what's happening in the world as an invitation for each one of us to find who we came here to be. And together, we can activate that vision of a world that works for everyone. Awesome. Let's do it. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Another deep breath. And let it go. Shira, if you would come up and do this with me. Let's breathe again. If it's comfortable, allow your eyes to fall closed for a moment. And I just want to remind each one of us once again that what I know is that there is one seamless presence that is living and breathing throughout the entirety of the universe. There is one life, one mind, one power, and one presence. I choose to call it God. Some of us may simply just call it energy or the consciousness of the universe or the quantum field, a sea of infinite potential. What I know is that this power, this presence, this life force has been living and breathing in everyone and everything for all of existence, unfolding, creating, evolving for 14 billion years, bringing more of itself into awareness. And what I know is that each one of us are the unique individualized ways that the allness of this divine mind funnels itself into creation. And it does so through our thoughts, intentions, and attention, and through our participation in life. We are the way that evolution begins to happen on purpose. Because perhaps up until now, evolution has been an activity of chance, but it is through each one of us that evolution becomes an activity of choice. Let us choose to use this year of Grand Rising as an opportunity for each one of us to evolve into the greater versions of who we came here to be. Let each one of us use this year of Grand Rising as an opportunity to invite the world around us, to invite ourselves to rise up, to stand for truth, to be the love that the world needs. And so I just speak a word of gratitude for this community, for who we are, for who we're becoming, for all that is unfolding in, through, and as this place. The transformation that is living and breathing in each person as we walk through the doors of this place, as we be in the collective consciousness of this thing called community, where we are reminded of our common unity. And so in gratitude, I just remind us once again that there is indeed a power for good in this universe that is so much greater than we are. And yet it is who we are. So let that flow through us consciously and on purpose in everything we do. And let each one of us participate in this year of grand rising. And so to that, I just say yes. And so it is. Take another deep breath in.